Welcome to this edition of Hindsight is Horrifying, the show where three mostly normal and somewhat cynical adults discuss life as members of the TV generation. Now here are your hosts, Darth Jada, Jason Mitchell, and Adam B.
Hello, and welcome. We're back again. You can't get rid of us, everybody. I don't even know who's still watching.
We're never going out of business.
No, we're never going out of business. Welcome to another exciting edition of Hindsight is Horrifying, where we have a very special guest.
We do indeed.
This is a wonderful,
right? Here.
No, over here.
I was about to say, I thought we were talking
The other special guest. We've got multiple guests today.
so imposing.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're honored to have in the studio tonight really a legend of American cinema, Mr. Gene Hackman.
You're trying to cup his chin.
Aww, he likes when you do that.
Hi, Gene.
A little scratch behind the ear. And we also have somebody else here.
Oh, right.
This is the guest
what's
I
your
was
face?
thinking of.
Hands off.
Yeah, no
Don't
petting
touch
the
me.
guests.
No me toca.
We went through this.
Yeah, when Jeremy was here.
Yeah, exactly.
I did like
Jesus,
touching
Mr.
him.
Brown.
He's so strong and swarthy.
Yeah, we probably
my.
should have warned you that Adam is a bit handsy.
That's why we didn't give him any alcohol tonight.
Yeah, so if you need to just stab him with something, we have
Pen in the eye socket.
Jason also has a stick that he uses to keep Mr. Brown under control.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
just
the
give us
Vulcan neck
the
bench.
secret signal
Yes.
over there.
But no, we are honored to have with us two special guests. One, Gene Hackman, who he's great and all, and but
And Miss Amanda Bain.
even more impressive.
Yay.
Now, you were recently in a play.
I think you guys know about it.
I think we do. We're milking it for everything it was worth.
Wait, we were in a play?
I don't know. I take so many drugs nowadays. I don't even.
You guys been giving me the Groovy Bears again?
Yeah. No, Amanda.
Love, sex, and rock and roll. What was it called again? I can't even remember.
even remember.
Sex, lies, and the videotape, right?
Yeah,
No?
I've blocked so much of it out.
Hold
by
on, you
this
were
point.
videoing us? Oh no.
No, just in your tracing.
No, we
I know it's
And
illegal
we're off
in
and
many
running.
states, but not this one.
no we are today discussing the classic 1996 Mike Nichols directed film, The Birdcage.
Yay!
Yay.
Which
One of Darth's all-time favorite movies.
yes. So we're breaking a rule that I established a long time ago, where I don't like doing movies that are good. But
But
you know,
there's so
we're
much to
anyway.
unpack with this one that there's still plenty to talk about.
Well, there's a lot of packing and unpacking, if you know what I mean, in this film. What?
Did they ever establish who was the pitcher and who was the catcher?
I mean, is it not obvious?
Yeah.
Well,
I think we know. Well, you never know.
You say
sometimes.
that. You
Okay,
say
before
that.
we fall
the
down
top.
that disgusting rabbit hole, so the synopsis for the Birdcage Hindsighters, for those of you who have not seen this cinematic classic, is
La Cage aux Folies.
yes,
Yes.
which translates to
Birds of a feather.
Crazy Cage.
Oh, the crazy cage.
Yes. So Armand Goldman, Robin Williams, owns a popular drag nightclub in South Miami Beach. His longtime lover, Albert, stars as Starina. Their son, Val, actually Armand's by his one heterosexual fling 20 years before, comes home to announce his engagement to Barbara Keeley, daughter of Kevin Keeley, U.S. Senator and co-founder of the Coalition for Moral Order. God. The senator and family descend upon South Beach to meet Val, his father and mother. What ensues is comic
But they
chaos.
really don't. And I think that's the first thing about rewatching this movie that got me, is that it's like an hour and 20 minutes before they make it there.
Oh yeah, like that's
the
just,
whole movie is before that.
Oh, the first
you
act,
know,
alone, there's so much packed into it that you're
Again,
absolutely
with
right.
the packing. Yes, a lot of packing. And no worries, we are not, because we do have a long-standing rule on the show, no politics. So don't worry.
Yeah, Gene. So keep it kosher back there, okay?
Yeah, him and Nixon were not, they weren't close.
No.
He was actually on Nixon's enemy list.
What? Gene Hackman
Are you
was?
Gene
serious?
Hackman.
For what purpose?
I don't know.
He didn't like Popeye.
Yeah.
Doyle, that is.
Oh goodness.
Well, that was a good movie too.
No.
But yeah, so no worries about that. This is all about entertainment and having fun. But yeah, it's weird. Rewatching it, I thought the whole movie was the hijinks when the
Keeleys
both
are
groups
in
of characters
Armand's
got
house.
together.
Yeah.
And it's like I'm watching it again, going, movie's only 2 hours long. There's like 30 minutes left. They haven't even made it to South Beach.
Yeah, exactly. So it's all in the setup, and that's the beautiful thing.
Yep.
And the dynamic between Robin Williams and his lover, Nathan Lane, who plays Albert, a.k.a. Starina, the star of the show. And oh my God, like whenever I watch this show, you guys, I cannot decide who's my favorite character. It's always a race between Agador or Albie because they're both absolutely ridiculous, and it's amazing.
It is. It's a great movie.
Now, the reason we did choose this, all right, all kidding aside, we did do a play, I believe, called Love, Sex, and the IRS, which we did a commentary on.
Yes, we did.
Last time with the beloved Jeremy Choate. Jeremy Choate. And Amanda was also in the show. Now, one of the key themes of the show was someone having to dress up as a woman.
Yes.
I don't remember what character that was.
This guy right
but
here.
We did.
Wait, it wasn't me, was it?
It wasn't me either.
It was you that one drunken night.
Okay. All right.
But Gene Hackman was a key player.
Yes, he was.
In this play. He was in the backdrop. It was brilliant. And it just so happens that Gene Hackman, that same Gene Hackman, is in this movie.
As Senator
one
Keeley.
right here that we're watching.
Yeah, literally the very same Gene Hackman.
That guy right there.
Because what's so special about this portrait, Jason?
Well, I can never remember because I've told the story a million times, but I don't know if I've told it on the show.
You have. You
Just
told it
say
on Love,
again.
Sex,
Okay,
and
I'll
the
just say it
IRS.
Every time.
Yeah.
It never gets old.
In the first scene after Val,
yes.
Val, tells his dad that he's getting married, and then we're immediately introduced to Callista Flockhart and Gene Hackman and
Diane Weist.
Diane Weiss. Thank you. I specifically was going to remember it this time, and I blew it. But in the first scene where you see all three of them, they're in Gene Hackman's office, and there's a portrait hanging just above where Callista Flockhart is sitting, and this is the actual portrait. Like
no
this,
cap.
Like on
you
God.
taught me that expression.
On God.
Either you or Jeremy
For
taught me that
real.
expression when he was here because y'all were talking about the turns of phrase that your children use.
Yeah, my wife's uncle was a collector of movie memorabilia, and when he passed on, he left this to her, and so I don't know where he acquired it. I don't know if he stole it or won it in a poker game or
He
whatever.
might have.
But he
Maybe
had
was
it.
an extra. Maybe he was an extra in the
He
film.
might have been for all we know. Yeah, he was an actor.
Because he was an actor,
Yeah.
an accomplished actor.
Yeah,
How was the story that he was an extra and got it that way?
No, he mainly did soap operas.
But either way, this is the genuine portrait from the set of the
actual,
movie.
yeah, it's the actual one. And so we said, well, we have it.
Nathan Lane.
Let's bring it.
Let's bring it. Let's do it. Let's do an episode. And so here we are.
Yep. Here we most certainly are.
Yeah. And it is a remake, the movie.
It's been remade like 7 or 8 times.
What? Has
yeah.
it? No.
Not as a movie every time. It's been in multiple stage productions. Like Kelsey Grammer was in one of the stage productions.
Really?
That's
Who did
what
he
it says
play?
in my notes. I believe he was Armand.
No way.
But there was a lot of not to put too fine a point
Wait,
on
Armand is...
Armand is Robin Williams,
Williams,
and then
mhm.
Nathan Lane plays Albert, his lover. So then you have Hank Azaria as Agador, their loyal houseman, who's always in a certain state of undress and just has the most ridiculous accent in the entire world. But it was kind of an amalgam of... there was a language that Hank Azaria's family spoke. It was like a subsect of Spanish that his family spoke in their household. And he basically was imitating his grandmother. Doing this character. So just the way he talks and everything is absolutely beautiful. And Nathan Lane is at his melodramatic diva-ish best in this movie because he's so effeminate and melodramatic, and it's fantastic.
Do you guys know who was originally supposed to play Albert?
Yes.
Do you guys know?
I'm not going to say it
Okay.
because you told me just before we
Well,
started.
yeah, but they don't know that.
No,
Well,
they
it
don't.
starts
know?
with who was supposed to be Armand originally.
Well, yeah. The original, yeah.
So the original Armand, the nightclub owner, was supposed to be Steve Martin, and Robin Williams was slated to play Albert. But Robin Williams had just come off of Mrs. Doubtfire, and he wanted to do something.
Phrasing.
He wanted to do something a little more subtle, and he had just done the whole drag thing, so he wanted to do something a bit different. And unfortunately, Nathan Lane was tied up with some sort of Broadway
Steve Martin.
commitment.
Steve Martin was.
No, Nathan Lane was tied up in another project. They wanted him for Albert, but he couldn't do it because he was tied up to another, into another commitment.
He was tied up somewhere.
Steve
Fire
Martin.
Island.
Oh my! So Steve Martin was supposed to be Armand, but then conflicting schedules made it so that Steve Martin couldn't commit to the movie either. So Robin Williams shifted to be Armand when Mike Nichols actually called in a favor to the director of whoever was doing Nathan Lane's show at the time and had him delay the opening so that Nathan Lane could do this movie. So there was a whole lot of switcheroo when it comes to the roles. And we just missed so many great lines from the very beginning where Nathan Lane is having a meltdown, which is one of the many reasons this movie is so quotable and funny because he's supposed to go on as Starina and do his main number in the nightclub, but you find that he's pitching a fit up in his dressing room because he and Armand live above the club in Miami Beach, and he's flipping out. Why?
Did he see him with another?
So
he thought.
Albert thinks that Armand is cheating on him because I saw a bottle of white wine chilling in the refrigerator. I only drink red, and so do you. And it's because Robin Williams is his character's trying to meet somebody behind Nathan Lane's back, but Nathan Lane jumps to the conclusion that Armand must be cheating on him because he's got a foreign bottle of wine sitting in the refrigerator.
Would somebody explain that to me? Because why is he keeping it a secret that Val is coming over?
Because Val had some big news that he wanted to share specifically with his dad at first. He didn't want to make a big production out of it because he knew that he was going to get a negative reaction when he came home and told his gay dads that he's getting married to. They don't even care that he's getting married to a girl. It's more the fact that he's only 20 and she's 18.
Well, right,
and they think he's too young to get married. Yeah.
And they're right.
They're
absolutely correct.
Absolutely.
What is it? Almost like a little Romeo and Juliet action going on there with the Capulets and Montagues, perhaps?
But the families aren't warring. I mean,
well, they would be.
That's true. I think.
Well, it's
politics.
I think it's a take on an old story where you have two families that should be at war, but they don't know that they're at war, and they're
because the kids are kind of the daughter's lying to the Keeleys. She's saying
they're all lying. Everybody's lying through their teeth.
Well, the Keeleys, so they're trying to cover up a scandal because Senator Keeley's co-founder for the Coalition of Moral Order was found with an underage black prostitute in bed.
He was going to be running for president, and he was going to be on the ticket with that guy.
But it was a female prostitute, right? It wasn't a male one.
It was a female prostitute, but she was underage, and they made a big deal out of her being African American because I guess he was a white guy. I don't know, but
see, if he had been from Louisiana, it would have been no problem.
No.
But we've had like 5 governors it's happened to. It's
not a big
Amanda,
deal.
No biggie.
I have to tell you, this is where Jeremy and I first really started joking around on the set of Love, Sex, and the IRS because we were making fun of Agador because you see Hank Azaria dancing around in a red wig in cutoff shorts, and he's dancing to Gloria Estefan, and he keeps asking Armand over and over to let him.
And the Miami Sound Machine.
That too. Sorry, I forgot about the Miami Sound
Everyone
Machine.
forgets about
It's in Miami, so that's the important part.
Exactly. But so Agador's prancing around cleaning the kitchen, and he keeps asking Armand repeatedly when he's going to let Agador audition for him to be in the drag show again. And Robin Williams keeps refusing. And he's like, why don't you talk to me like that? Like I'm your servant. And Jeremy and I just fell down a rabbit hole of quoting that scene together.
His favorite line is you're afraid of my Guatemalaness.
Your what? My Guatemalaness, my natural heat.
Speaking of Jeremy, is there a bit of news?
Oh, yes.
Oh, that's
Someone
what I wanted to segue
to
into.
this movie and our last show. Yes.
Yes, that's true.
Yes.
Well, let's hear. Let's hear.
He auditioned and got his dream role up at Cumming School Street Playhouse to be Roger Debris and the Producers.
Woo!
Yes.
And we will be sure to go see that. That's awesome.
I hear that dressing as a woman is quite liberating.
Oh, he could not be more excited to be wearing the strapless, evening gown that makes him look like the Chrysler Building. Yeah.
He's going to be more sexy.
That's really where the selling point is when he put it on Facebook. It was, if you want to come see me in this dress, you got to come see this show.
And I believe my exact comment was, I believe Mr. Brown is, incredibly excited about just that one aspect of Jeremy getting
to come see it.
Yes.
How many tickets can we buy in advance? Just curious, asking for a friend.
Oh my.
I got to tell my hairdresser because she runs a drag show in Cumming too. And we could just fill up the theater. It'll be amazing. Yes.
Well, and there you go. You'll have friends. Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Maybe Dave Foley can come.
All my people.
I mean, it's not as though we don't have connections with
That's
Dave
true.
Foley.
That's true. It's funny because for some reason when I was younger, I don't know why I thought Judge Reinhold played Val.
Judge Reinhold.
For some reason I had this image in my head, and because I only saw this movie, I think whenever I was in, it came out in '96.
His name is Dan Futterman, the actual actor who plays him.
Has he been in anything?
Quite a bit of work.
He
after
has.
that.
So
a lot of work. Yeah, I was surprised.
In the Mr. Brown multiverse, Dan Futterman was actually in an episode of Sex and the City.
Oh, okay.
Yes, he dated Charlotte, and ironically enough, he played a character who was so effeminate that she wasn't sure if she should be dating him because she couldn't tell if he was gay. So there's that. But he's been in quite a few things. Yeah, he's been a working actor for a long time.
Well, very good.
He just doesn't have that face that pops.
Yeah.
It's just kind of plain Procter and Gamble.
Rude.
P&G.
P&G face.
It's a P&G face.
That's awesome.
Such a beach to everybody.
This Monsanto just stamps out actors. What episode of CSI am I supposed to be in? No, because I saw this movie whenever I was in college, and it was a long time before I saw it.
Second time?
Yeah. I think I've probably seen the movie all the way through, maybe 3 times.
Seriously?
I mean, it is a long movie, so if you catch it on TV, back when it would have maybe appeared on TV, it's not a very popular TV movie, though. Kind of like It's a Wonderful Life. It's such a long movie that once you add commercials, it gets a little tiring. Yeah. Well, and am I right that this is the movie that really introduced the world to Nathan Lane?
Yes, this was not only Nathan Lane's first big Hollywood break, it was also Dan Futterman's, I think. It introduced the world to him.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, there it is, the same frame and everything.
The main people who got their big break were Callista Flockhart, Nathan Lane, and Hank Azaria. It was all their... it was kind of a trifecta of big breaks for them.
Right. Who's like 30 in this movie, and she's playing someone who's
she's 31 and she's playing
20.
an 18-year-old. And Dan Futterman's like 27, 28, and he's playing a 20-year-old. So that's a little bit closer, but still.
And if only we had known she was going to end up married to Harrison Ford.
God, seriously.
Yeah.
She had no idea at that time.
Who's
she
that
wasn't
skeleton in my bedroom? That's your wife, Dr. Jones.
She fell between the gaps in a sewer grate. She's so skinny.
So back before most of you were born, I was surfing HBO one Saturday afternoon, probably like 1979, 1980, and this foreign film came on called La Cage aux Folles, and I was very enamored by it. It is actually a very good film. We probably should watch it and do it.
Which is superior?
Hard to say. I would have to watch. I haven't watched it since it came out, but I don't normally like foreign films because I'm a slow reader, and the subtitles make it very.
And he doesn't like to wear his glasses.
I don't like to wear my glasses, but I just thought it was freaking hilarious. And little did I know, I was poking around. It was nominated for 2 Academy Awards in 1978.
Really?
Yes, I think it was Best Director. And might have been a Best Actor or Best Screenplay. Didn't win.
Mike Nichols actually worked on the 1978 version as well.
Did he?
So that was part of the reason why he worked with Elaine May to make this Americanized version.
Well, he had his early career was something else. Because I mean, he started out. What movie set off his career? I know. Mr. Brown knows. Come on.
I honestly don't know.
All right, Mr. Brown, what is it? The Graduate.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I've come to talk to you.
And see what else he did. Trying to think of the other, like the highlights of the Mike Nichols career.
He was married to the Sound of Music woman, right? Was it
Julie Andrews?
Was he?
Was it Julie Andrews' husband?
Let's find out.
You got to check that out.
Go to the internet. But he and Elaine May were partners throughout like the 50s and 60s, and then they went their separate ways until they reunited for this project.
Yeah.
But see, and that's cool to, to think that this guy had this sitting in the back burner. He had to have thought for years that he wanted to do this.
Well, the fact that it had 2 Academy Award nominations as a foreign film, which is tough to get into the Academy.
Oddly enough, didn't get nominated for Best Foreign Film. Because they had a category for that.
Right.
So oddly didn't get that one.
No, he did not.
He was married to Diane Sawyer at some point, but never Julie Andrews.
And who was
Patricia Scott, Margot Caius.
Got to look up Julie Andrews to see who her husband was. For
Do you know at home?
Yes.
If you do, call in to 555.
Leave a
Yell at the
comment if
screen
you
right
know
now,
who
or-
Julie Andrews is married to.
I'm going to find out.
No, but Mike Nichols.
Currently, Blake Edwards. She was married to Tony Walton.
No, Blake Edwards is who I'm thinking of.
Well,
there
that's
you
her
go.
spouse.
Mystery
as
solved.
But he
until
died.
2010.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he died
Yep.
like 12 years ago. But
Oh, and here comes an improv moment. So, this movie, Mike Nichols actually insisted upon weeks of rehearsal prior to actually filming because he wanted to film the movie as much like a play as possible with a minimal amount of editing. So when you see these really long scenes, they do it like a play. And so they would do a lot of improv during the rehearsals. And one of the moments is coming up right now where Albert is in the bakery and he asked to try a sample. And then he comes back for a second. He goes, "Oh, when the schnecken beckons." Apparently that's something that Nathan Lane improv during rehearsal. And so they kept it for the actual movie.
Well, there was a ton of improvisation. There was a ton of really creative filmmaking.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because and it's not the sort of movie you would think of as being like, you know, it's going to have really interesting cinematography and things like that. But the opening shot of the movie, you know,
Oh, yeah.
where the credits begin and you have this long shot. I know I'm actually saying
have it
I
memorized.
actually know it. You have this long shot of the credits, and it's over the water by Miami.
Very Miami Vice looking.
Yeah, it was very Miami Vice.
And like Working
change
Girl,
change the music, and it would have been
Mhm.
Miami Vice. But so you
The
have this
sassy sisterhood
long
movie.
shot that ends up inside the club, and they couldn't do like a Scorsese Goodfellas thing where they literally did one long shot, so they split
Right.
it up into three, and it literally started as a helicopter shot, and then they did a very creative cut to the cameraman being on a crane, slowly coming down, mimicking the helicopter. Then the cameraman got off the crane and walked into the club.
Mhm.
And then you have another very creative cut, and then it's onto the soundstage. But it really does flow like one long shot from
yeah.
the Atlantic Ocean all the way
If you
into.
said that at the beginning, I would have been paying more attention.
Well, it's on Prime. You can watch it again.
Oh,
Yes, it
I'm definitely
is.
going to watch it again.
And did Mike Nichols do Working Girl?
No.
Okay, because they did a similar opening shot where they just went across the water in New York City and like went right up to the apartment, and it was known for that opening shot.
Does anybody want coffee? No, but one thing I pointed out
No, you fool. Working Girl was obviously directed by Mike Nichols.
Yes, of course. So that's his.
I knew
you
that.
called
I
it,
knew that
Mr.
from
Brown.
the
You called
beginning.
it. Well done.
You made me doubt myself.
But yeah, so one thing I pointed it out when I was watching this with Josh, he was sort of tuned out playing his video game at home. And I said, I just love how convincing Robin Williams and Nathan Lane are as a romantic
They really
couple,
are.
despite the
Oh, yeah.
fact that they never kiss each other.
It's true.
Now,
I was looking
Albert
for
did
it.
just come in from the market and gives Armand like a little peck on the cheek hello and complains about his mustache, but they never kiss each other. And Josh was...
That's why they're like a married couple.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. No, I'm serious. That's why they work
An
as a
old
couple.
married
Yeah, they're
couple.
like an old
Yeah,
married
not
couple.
newlyweds by
Yeah,
any means.
exactly. 'Cause
No, but
yeah, what do you want?
But I surprised Josh with that because he was playing his video game and he's seen this movie a bunch of times because I watch it, at least once or twice a year. And he was like, no, oh my God, they never do kiss each other. And I was like, no, they don't. Like, it's just, they're just kind of, happy and content with each other. And Armand, like, it's so funny because you said something about pitcher versus catcher. And I mean, Albert's literally the far more effeminate one. So,
I'm just saying those things will surprise you sometimes.
He
that's
might be
what
a
I've heard.
tiger in the bedroom. Who
Yeah.
knows?
Is he an otter, a bear? We don't know.
Best Mike Nichols film, you think?
Ooh.
Because I have a
I need a list.
personal favorite Mike Nichols film that I think I'm the only person who'll say
Who directed MASH?
Altman. That was Robert Altman.
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
Which is a great movie.
Yeah,
That
absolutely.
has nothing to do with this.
He's done so many.
He has, but have any of you seen the film Regarding Henry?
Oh my
Yes.
gosh, of course.
Okay, all right.
I love that film.
One of my all-time favorite
Love it.
movies. And I'm
Yes.
surprised because usually when because I do at cocktail parties, I'll just bring up that movie. And people usually go, why are you here? No one invited you. and I get my drink and I leave. But
I loved Regarding Henry. That was another one of those HBO surfing films.
Yeah.
And I said, oh, look, Han Solo is in a film. Let me see. And he gets shot in the face
Did you just
really
call him
early on.
Han? Oh,
Han.
Yeah, you did.
Well, when I'm solo, I'm using my hands.
well,
So
to be to be fair, they call him Han in the movie sometimes because
Han.
no one could
True.
ever agree on how to say it.
That's true.
It's sort of like Carrie Fisher occasionally being British. You know.
Yeah, she did go back
Yeah.
and forth between calling him Han and Han.
Yeah.
Like, now, Lando always called him Han.
Yeah.
And I was fine with one
Han.
character calling him one thing and another character calling him another, but Carrie Fisher would just waffle back and forth, which
Yeah.
was aggravating. But I'm actually going to vote Birdcage. That's my favorite Mike Nichols movie.
Yeah, same.
I think Birdcage is probably the best. I mean, the
got
the
several.
Graduate is one of the greatest things to ever happen in cinema in history. So you can't.
Mrs. Robinson.
Except
Well, I
I'm
mean,
disappointed about plastics.
yeah, I know it didn't work. I tried to
really-
get a job in plastics. There
It was such a
nothing.
hot tip back then.
And I've actually said that to my nephews before, like graduating high school. Actually, I got one word for you: plastics. And they just go, "What?"
See,
Well, that's
when
even
I
the
went to college, my dad had one word for me: rubbers.
Yeah.
Here, take the whole
Wowza.
box.
Actually, my dad's word was leave. Or pay rent.
Charlie Wilson's War was a good movie too.
That was good. Yeah, Charlie Wilson's War was good. I always liked Regarding Henry because it was Harrison Ford, but you got to see like two Harrison Fords in the same movie.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And I can't remember who played his wife. And this is all very much related to the Birdcage. But look, Mike Nichols, we lost him not too long ago, so I think it's okay to have a conversation about his career because he died
Absolutely.
maybe like 10 years ago.
Let's find out. God.
And he really was one of those directors who just was consistently making interesting, good movies, even if it wasn't something,
He died in 2014.
Okay, yeah, so about 10 years ago.
Yeah.
But we do actually need to take a quick break.
All right.
We've been talking that long.
We have been.
Yes.
So
Getting hoarse. We must take a break.
So we are going to be back in about 1 second, and we're back.
It's good to be back.
Hello.
And we've gotten to, I think this is the closest we get to a big musical number.
Yes.
It's got the most choreography. I mean, you have the musical stuff, you have the songs in the beginning, but this is the one with, it's an interesting piece.
And this was actually written, there were several songs, I've got to find it in my notes, but several of the songs were actually originally written for this movie. So the song that Albert's singing right now, I can't remember what it's titled, but it's about dreams and dreamers. That was actually written for this movie. I'm trying to find.
Oh, wait, what?
I'm wondering if you're just going to blow right past this.
I think they hired him because he was a beefcake, the young guy.
The guy chewing the gum?
Yeah.
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 Hey, well, I mean, that's one of those parts where it's just, this is it. You're only going to be.
Oh, yeah. So 3 songs, in fact. Sondheim wrote Little Dream for the movie.
I
Albert
don't want to
sings
talk
it.
about Sondheim.
Okay, well, he also wrote Love is in the Air, which Robin Williams sings later with, what's her,
I know
the
you're talking.
incredibly talented woman whose name I can never, Christine Baranski.
Oh, I love Christine
Yes,
Baranski.
who plays Val's biological mother. And then, he actually wrote that song from A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Forum, but they actually sing it or reference it at some point in the movie. But either way, so those were the 3 songs that made an appearance. And Robin Williams, he apparently had this part choreographed and it was a collaboration. So Robin Williams is trying to tell the backup dancer to not upstage Albert, and Albert's getting pissed because the guy is popping his gum and being annoying. And so it was choreographed for Robin Williams to do the whole Fosse, 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 Martha Graham. But it was Nathan Lane's addition toward the end of that line because he does this big song and dance in front of the guy and goes, "But you keep it all inside." And Nathan Lane said that was an actual thing that happened to him on a Broadway show. He goes, "This director was trying to give me all this clear direction about this scene, but you keep it all inside." And so that's why they added that one little bit. So that part was improv.
See, and I think it's great that director, nobody knows who he is, but we all know who Nathan Lane is.
Now, you have a beef with Stephen Sondheim?
Well, only because I spent, we all spent a lot of time with Into the Woods.
Into the woods, into the woods.
Shut
into the woods.
your damn mouth. I had that fucking song. I had that musical stuck in my head for weeks.
At least you and I knew what that song in the musical was about. Mr. Brown had never even seen it.
Oh,
No, I had never seen it.
And it's I actually when we were doing Into the Woods, I went back and I watched like the
Anna Kendrick version?
No, not the Anna Kendrick one, the original with it's gonna drive me nuts. I can't remember the name of the actress, but yeah, very, very talented cast. And I thought, well, I'm going to watch the original one, not the Into the Woods Junior. I'll see the ones with the grownups, and I'll really appreciate
Makes
it.
a
And I
big
watched it, and I thought, this is not very good.
Well, because you need to see the one where Hannah Waddingham is the witch. She's in a Ted Lasso. She's the big.
So that's recent. That's very recent.
It was in 2010, I think, and it was on the West End, but it was an outdoor performance, and so the whole set is outside. It's gorgeous, and she's the best witch in Into the Woods ever of all time.
So I thought the Anna
It's
Kendrick
hilarious and amazing.
I thought the Anna Kendrick one wasn't bad, but the musical itself is just kind of, it's not my favorite to start with.
Yeah.
And then once you do the junior version, the show itself doesn't really make sense because they
take so much
they
out.
take too much out for any of the like stories to really be complete. Like you don't know that Jack is stealing from the giant and like and there's not even a giant.
Oh.
In our version there wasn't, sorry. But yeah.
Well, you know, it's Into the Woods Junior, so I mean,
parents were just there to applaud little Timmy.
Yeah, and the kids did great, and it was directed.
Oh yeah,
wonderfully.
they were awesome.
I mean, it's not. It was a great play, but yeah,
it's our it's our most profitable business unit, actually.
Oh yeah, absolutely,
by far.
Yeah,
I'm very
by a
happy
country
about
mile.
the work
So,
that your wife does.
Mr. Brown, I've got to ask, what's going on here with your
what?
Your wardrobe change?
Is this like a Beatles thing?
I didn't change anything. Are you okay? Let me just check something.
The drugs have begun to take hold.
She is really hot.
The temperature did
and
rise.
I've known her to be hot for a long period of time, but she's really hot now.
What's happening right now?
Well, you've got a fever. Are you having fever visions?
It's possible.
I haven't
I'm
changed,
seeing
right,
like
Jason?
a psychedelic.
I'm not seeing anything.
Blouse and
Nothing,
a wig.
right? Nothing.
I mean, you look good.
I do feel like somebody should be singing "Tiptoe Through the Tulips." That's the only thing I'm. No.
You need a ukulele.
Oh no!
No.
Oh no! Stop!
Sorry, I love Tiny Tim. And if you remember Tiny Tim, you should go to bed, have a cup of warm milk and go to bed. Right
exactly.
Now.
You're
late. It's late for you.
It's past your bedtime.
Or go watch Blood Harvest, the Tiny Tim movie that will absolutely fuck you up.
Oh God.
Yeah, where he plays a crazy clown.
Oh.
Yeah.
I learned so much from these.
Yeah, he was in a horror movie where he played a crazy clown. He was a great guy though. I think I told you the story, but whenever he died, he knew he was very, very sick, but he wouldn't. He had a show and he would not go to the hospital because people had showed up and they wanted him to go, and he was like, "No, I'm not disappointing my audience."
Aww.
And did his show and died. So
That sucks.
What was it that he died of?
I think it was a heart attack. Yeah, I think nothing untoward or anything.
Which is all very much to do with the Birdcage.
Yes,
so,
very much like the Birdcage.
Yeah,
Sorry, we're back.
So much.
We've reached the crux of the movie where Val is not only telling his dad that he's getting married, so that's
Every time you say that, I think of Tremors.
Valentine. Yeah,
Every single time.
Kevin
Bacon.
Kevin Bacon.
Yeah, Christian Slater.
Because I remember you guys were like, "Why is he wearing a heart belt buckle?" And I was like, "Because his name is Valentine." And you were like, "Oh my God!" So there was that. But anyway, so Val has not only shocked his dads with the news that he's getting married at such a young age, but now he's adding the fact that he's marrying a girl whose parents are, right-wing conservatives, and obviously there's an issue
Very,
there
very
because
Christian.
Very caricatured.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, very caricatured.
And he's telling his dad that he's got to change everything about himself, including his life partner. Like, you got to change the decor in the house. You got to change how you walk. You can't wear any makeup.
And I actually have a problem with the whole, not a problem, but it's such an idiotic plan.
Oh, it is.
Because even if you pull it off once,
It's not the one time
Exactly.
the parents
Yeah,
are ever going to
it's-
see each other.
That's what an 18-year-old and a 20-year-old would think of.
That's true.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Further proof that he's too young to get married.
Yeah,
Exactly.
no, it's actually absolutely correct. But it's like they say, any situation is always going to be ruled by the least reasonable and most crazy person.
Unfortunately, because they tend to kick up the most fuss. Precisely. But so Robin Williams now is also faced with a challenge. He has to get rid of Albert for the night, and which is no mean feat, because as we've previously mentioned, Nathan Lane's character is rather melodramatic, and he doesn't understand why he can't just be, fun Uncle Al and dress in a suit. And they're like, oh, come on,
Right.
that's not going to work.
Well, and the funny thing is too, is that if they were really aware of Gene or Senator whatever is
Keeley,
of his circumstances, they really are in the catbird seat. They can kind of call the shots, because it's not like this guy's on top of the world. Everything's falling apart for him. So they could really, they could just tell him this is how it is, and too bad. But they don't, and instead we get wacky
Trying
hijinks.
to keep everything copacetic. I think
I
that's
feel like it's a sweet kind of commentary about how accepting and adapting the gay community is, rather than trying to control things because of where they're coming from.
Well,
I don't
and
know,
you're absolutely right, because this was before gay marriage was legalized back in
Yeah.
1996, and
before Will and Grace even.
Yeah, but Ellen hadn't come out. Even Nathan Lane, allegedly, he had come out to very close friends and family, but he hadn't come out publicly. And
so there were people who were wondering.
I mean,
Oh, when is Nathan going to marry a nice girl?
she doesn't have an upstairs.
When is he going to settle down and start a family?
No, but
Stop this Broadway.
well, there's a
nonsense.
sweet story behind that, because when he and Robin Williams went on Oprah together, Nathan Lane was concerned that she was going to question him about his orientation, and Robin Williams apparently.
Why are you gay?
He was like, Nathan, you don't have to answer a single question that you don't want to, and apparently spent most of the interview kind of deflecting and buffering for Nathan Lane so that Oprah couldn't peg him in a corner about his sexual orientation.
pun intended.
Metaphorically, yes. Not literally.
You guys are just going to rip apart everything I have to say.
We love your train of thought. Train.
Yeah. Power bottom.
These are the boys that I hang out with in my
Yeah.
free time, Amanda.
Yes,
I know.
she's the meat in our sandwich.
I feel like a fourth wheel now.
We welcome you with open arms. You just
Save
may
me,
not want
Gene.
to join.
I need you, Jeremy.
We don't really have guests. We have witnesses.
It's not subtle.
Yes. The reason we video
Yes, if
this
I ever
is- it can be
disappear,
used in the court
check
of
with
law.
these two first.
I feel like I'm gonna come up with a scuba product. I'm gonna I don't know what it is
The
yet,
snorkel?
but no, it's gonna be called the Power Bottom. I don't know what it is or what it does, but
Oh my God.
someone needs to copyright that.
TM.
It puts
that's
something
what-
in your mouth and allows you to breathe.
That's what Jeremy's going to be as
That's
Roger
usually-
Debris, the power bottom.
There you
He's
go.
gonna be the
Okay.
Power
Nice.
bottom. I cannot wait to see that show.
Trademark.
I loved him in that last show.
When
He
does
was
that happen? So
fantastic.
Funny
When
Money.
is it?
Yeah.
Oh, Funny
Funny
Money
Money.
just ended.
No.
July 21st.
Yeah, it's July. Shoot.
Yeah, so for our Australian audiences, if you happen to be in the
Yes,
Atlanta
yes,
area, please come see Jeremy Choate.
Considering how long it's going to take for me to get this on the air, if you have a time machine, please travel back in time.
It is
And go see
2023,
Jeremy.
by the way.
Cumming Street Playhouse.
Yes, it is July 21st through August 13th.
Excellent,
Awesome.
excellent.
Because we're filming this before the aliens attack.
No,
So-
that's right.
Allegedly.
So hopefully we can get out before then.
They might be
Do we
sneaking
have
in
a
the
date
building
on
as
the
we.
aliens attacking? I didn't realize.
Oh yeah, that's the next one.
We know it after it happens.
Which
next
is actually
on the
funny because
docket.
I was talking to somebody about that. I said, that's going to be the next thing is it's going to be aliens. And they say, you're crazy. Literally in the past week, I've seen probably half a dozen alien stories in mainstream news.
Oh, geez.
And it's
I
like,
missed this.
oh yeah, no, like a whole bunch of, like what was the guy at Stanford just came out and said, oh yeah, they're real. They're here, et cetera, et cetera.
Oh, that's the whole
yeah. And I'm like,
lizard people thing.
yeah, but this
Susanna
guy's a
Hoffs.
professor at Stanford though. So, but so that's going to be the next thing. And so hopefully I can get this show out before that
Before it
happens.
Because we'll have no power.
Now we won't have any power.
We
So
live in the dark age.
If you have a
like
se-
theater, though.
that's true. If
Entertainment.
if you
We'll
have
reenact it.
we'll get like a fake TV and we'll all act inside.
like Tropic Thunder.
Tropic Thunder.
What do you mean, you people? But yeah.
Have y'all
So
done that? Oh, y'all need to do that.
we have not done Tropic Thunder,
God.
actually.
No, we haven't.
We haven't done Blazing Saddles either. So
These stinking
You
badges.
get Jeremy back for that one. It's his favorite.
Oh my.
It's a great movie. So the plot, the not the plot of the movie, but the plot, the plan, the scheme is to get rid of Nathan Lane for one night.
Mm-hmm. And all the effeminate accoutrement.
Yeah,
in
de-gay the house.
Yeah, de-gay the house. There you go.
And they're going to get the Calista Flockhart's parents over, and they're going to have one night where everybody's going to act straight and everything's going to work out
And then it's
fine.
over. Yeah.
But they're expecting two people, mom and dad.
Right.
And so who's mom?
I just said her name a minute
Baranski.
ago. Christine
No.
Baranski.
Oh, that's the real mom. Yes.
The real mom.
Biological
Yeah, the
mom.
real mom.
Biological mother.
Why is he
And-
wearing a prison outfit on the beach?
I thought they were pajamas.
That was very stylish.
It's
in
linen.
Miami
It
back
is.
then.
It's nice and light, I guess, in the
Linen,
hot weather.
cool, but the stripes.
But yeah, so Agador is left in charge of de-gaying the house, as you phrased it, Jason, which is probably not the best idea. And Val keeps coming out and he's like, who put porn in the bathroom? And one of the guys goes,
no, those are Playboys. That's not porn.
Okay,
Have you
excuse
ever
me.
read a
Soft
Playboy?
porn.
no.
Okay, some of the
have
most
great articles.
insightful commentary.
Oh, dear
Wonderful.
God.
Okay.
And
Wonderful.
recipes.
And
Yeah.
great recipes.
Great recipes, yeah. And comics.
Don't they have Dear Abby in those?
I think so, yeah.
But I don't think it exists anymore, does
No,
it?
it doesn't. It's gone.
Playboy?
Yeah.
Oh, well,
over.
okay.
That
so,
was literally the moment I realized that I was free after high school. Was I go to college, and one day I'm in college like a week, and I go to my PO box and I open the PO box, and there's a little card in there, and it's a
Oh.
fill this out, mail it back,
I know
and you
where
get a
it's
subscription to Playboy.
Oh,
And I
dear
went,
God.
no one's gonna stop me. And I like on the spot, every single guy going out, like the
My
mailman.
parents are never going to find
They're
out.
never gonna find out.
I don't have to steal them from my dad anymore.
Yeah, so the mailman probably like the next month delivered probably 500 copies of Playboy.
Like 45 pounds of Playboy.
Just every mailbox was a Playboy.
And
Oh,
they're
but-
clean, and
yeah.
you know your dad didn't handle them first.
Exactly.
Oh,
Exactly. All the
weren't
pages
stuck
just
together.
opened up, you know.
Gross. But the point of mentioning Playboy was that Val comes out of the bathroom. He's like, who put Playboys in the bathroom? And one of the drag queens goes, leave it. That's what they read.
True.
And he's like, guys, don't add, just subtract, because they keep they bring in some ridiculous moose head and some giant crucifix
The
at some
giant
point,
crucifix.
trying to straighten up the house. And
Because this was before
That's what they
Maxim
do.
existed. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
They hunt and they worship Jesus. So that's why they got those
They
two props.
eat and
And
they
they-
sleep and they make baby sharks.
Yes.
And they
watch
don't enjoy
football.
sex.
Yeah.
They do not enjoy sex.
it's for procreation
Yes.
only.
Mm.
Thank you very much.
But the plan hits a speed bump,
Of course, when
a complication, if you will,
Yes.
to use
Oh,
the
yes.
cinematic term, and it's because Albert finds out.
and gets offended that he's to be gotten rid of for the evening. Robin Williams is trying to deter him and distract him any way that he can, like saying, "Oh, I'll take you shopping. I'll buy you anything you want." But they wind up back at the apartment, and Nathan Lane thinks they've been robbed because all of their earthly possessions are gone. And
Well, I mean, that's kind of a logical conclusion.
no, it
You know,
is.
yeah.
And they were like, "Well, Barbara and her family are coming, and we thought it'd be better if you weren't here." And Nathan Lane takes that rather
I've heard
poorly.
that so many times in my life.
I know.
But for you, it's a relief because you're like, oh,
Yeah,
I
I
don't
know, I
have to
know,
commit
yeah.
to this social situation. See ya.
Maybe that's the difference between a straight guy and a gay guy. Is the straight guy goes, "Oh, you don't want me here? Huh.
Thank
Bye.
goodness. I'll
Thank
see you
Lord.
next week.
Oh, dinner with the family, and I don't have to come.
Peace.
I'm gonna go. I'll be
Peace out.
at the hot wing place.
But this is just one of his many
Reading
melodramatic
Playboys.
moments where Nathan Lane is like, oh, okay, fine. The freak is leaving.
I
And
think,
just
I think I have that shirt.
the pink one or the,
pink
striped
one. I think I have the pink one.
I know I
Except
do.
I only have one pocket.
When
so,
Pink was in.
yeah,
Is it in anymore?
It comes and
it came
goes.
back, and
Yeah.
I think it's out again.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, so
But that's there's another big speed bump that occurs with Baranski.
do tell.
Yes.
She gets caught in traffic.
She does, but they go back and forth. So the plot, as you referred to it, Jason, keeps thickening with more and more ridiculous turns because Robin Williams is torn about getting rid of Nathan Lane because it's hurting his feelings so badly. And so he decides that he's going to be able to butch Albert up for the evening.
Oh, that is
And this
good.
is what's
That's
about
good
to
stuff.
happen.
That
They
is
stop
good
at
stuff.
a restaurant for lunch, and you get this great scene where Robin Williams is like, okay, we're going to eat some toast and don't dribble mustard on it. Smear. Min smear. And he's trying to get him to walk around like John Wayne and just deepen his voice, just the whole nine. It's
Quit
fantastic.
extending
And
your
what's
pinky.
brilliant about that,
Mm.
and it's something that in pretty much any other movie, they wouldn't have done it this way. They do the whole make him, we're going to make you act like a masculine man.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a bit. It has a beginning, a middle, and an end, and it's over.
Yeah.
If this was an Adam Sandler movie, that would be the whole.
That'd be the theme of the movie.
Whole movie.
Yeah.
Would be that. And this one, it's like, no, they got the mileage. Go on to the next thing.
Well, because they keep following up with more and more ridiculous stuff because Albert doesn't end up passing for straight so much as, spoiler alert, he dresses up like Val's mom. Because Christine Baranski does hit traffic at him, like you mentioned, because at first Robin Williams actually approaches her, even though they haven't spoken in 20 years.
That is a cute scene.
It's very
Oh, it's
cute.
adorable.
scene.
They're reminiscing about their first show together, and apparently, back in the day, she spent $20 to get the doorman to let her into Robin Williams' room so they could sleep together. And his exact line was, "Oh, you know what? Let's try it this once and see what all those straight guys are raving about."
And he did it. They did it twice.
Yes,
Twice in one night.
between
So
2:30 and 3:45 a.m.
I mean,
Twice.
he had to have liked it a little.
Well, my sense, if Nathan Lane hadn't been around, he might have done it a third time.
He might have.
She was working her magic on him. And I enjoyed the magic she was working. Because
Well,
she's
she
a
was
fitness
flirting
nut.
with him pretty hard.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
she's a fitness
Hardcore.
queen. She
Yeah.
owns her own fitness boutique now, and so it's called like Workout World. But she and Robin Williams start like dancing around and reminiscing about numbers from their old show. And she's like, touching his chest hair and
Yeah,
pulling
she's
on
going
his
for it,
chain.
yeah.
She's definitely hitting on him.
Yeah.
It's pretty great.
And she's got, it might have happened, except the dollar store Kathy Ireland came in.
I was thinking Dollar Store Kathy Bates, but
Wait, what?
What?
I thought you meant when Nathan Lane busts in and interrupts them.
Yeah, with Wish.com Kathy Ireland.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
Kathy Bates?
I ruined that.
I'm waiting for this
It's
scene
a
because now I'm
blonde.
trying to
You'll
remember.
The way
see.
she's
Oh.
dressed.
It's a blonde-haired lady.
Oh,
The secretary, right?
yeah.
Yeah, she looked like Jill Ireland. Was it Jill Ireland?
Kathy Ireland.
Kathy
Oh, Kathy
But she
Ireland.
said
Oh,
Kathy Bates.
No, okay.
They're
I
two
was
different
thinking
people.
when
Yeah,
he
very
was in the-
different people.
Never
Yeah.
mind.
Fix
Never
that
mind.
ankle.
I was thinking about the scene where he busts in the door before he's in the wig.
Yeah, because I spent a lot of time with a particular issue of Sports Illustrated, so I know. Okay.
Those pages are just disgusting at this point.
Yeah, just like the Playboy.
Just like the Playboy.
I was referring to the gold cap scene where he's still in the pink, he's
Oh,
in the
yeah,
big
okay,
pink
okay.
outfit. I was thinking more Kathy Bates, but
But and the whole thing with Albert is very touching, though, because as melodramatic as he is, you do really feel for the guy.
well, and he
Like-
does finally come around to saying, because it seems as though he's being selfish by wanting to stick around, but
He's
then
really
later in the
not,
movie,
yeah.
no, he
But
goes,
he just
Val,
really loves their son.
Yeah, and he
he's been
goes-
a part of his life for
Yeah.
years.
and he goes, Val, I just wanted so badly to help you. And that
Yeah.
was the moment where he kind of broke both Val's and Armand's hearts.
but they still went ahead and put him in the room anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Well, because I mean, you see him pouring through a family photo album, and he's like, "Oh, Val won the penmanship award when he was in 5th grade," oh, and he's just like, and meanwhile, Armand is trying to, play a song, and he's like, "Albert, you're driving me nuts," and he goes, "You know what the problem is? You just can't stand sharing your son with me." Like,
yeah, and it is
ridiculous.
it's touching because you also realize that Albert's been much more of a parent
Than Val's
because-
actual mother.
because his mom, they try to paint her in kind of a sympathetic light, but
But she abandoned her
she
kid.
doesn't
Yeah.
know a damn thing about her kid. She doesn't know how old he is.
No, she even asked. She was
Yeah.
like, "Oh, he's getting married. How old is he now? 20?"
Yeah,
Oh,
no,
like,
she's
not a
she could have died in a car accident. I would have been fine.
I like that that's kind of putting a woman in the place that they normally put a deadbeat dad into. Like
Oh,
a dad
exactly.
who's
Yeah.
walked out.
Yeah. And
And
that's,
she's got a very masculine energy, which I thought was kind of interesting when all of a sudden she's hitting on Robin Williams again. And he's like, oh, I
Well,
kind of like this again.
They do make a deliberate point out of that when she pops the champagne between her legs and it explodes everywhere. And
That's
she even
right.
says, she goes, "I'm not very maternal." And Robin Williams returns with, "Oh, it's all right. I'm very maternal." And Albert is practically a breast. So,
That's right.
But Albert is the feminine, like nurturing one, and not just with Val. He tries to take care of everybody around him. He does the shopping, and even when he's in the middle of his meltdown in the beginning of the movie, he looks at Agador and he's like, "Darling, have you eaten? You look haggard." Like, and he cares about everybody so
Yes.
much. It's so sweet.
It is.
we need to take one more break.
All right.
And
I'm
so
having too much fun with this
yeah,
movie.
so we will be back in about another 1 second. And we're back.
Hello.
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 Okay, you guys, I'm not the only one seeing this, right?
What?
I don't know.
Seriously.
I've been drinking for a while, so
Oh my God.
I don't even
Amanda, you see it, right?
Talking about?
see what.
I mean, there's just a lot of heat radiating from this direction. That's all I know.
It's very Guatemalan.
Yes.
His
Guatemalan-ness.
Guatemalan.
So in the movie, and we have skipped ahead a bit because we have limited runtime. We've gotten to the part where the families have gathered for dinner,
Yes.
and the real complication has occurred, which is that out of nowhere, Nathan Lane has emerged, and he is now pretending to be Val's mother.
He's in full drag.
He's in full drag and looking quite totally not plausible.
No, he
no one in God's green earth would fall for this.
He looks Eddie Izzard-ish.
Except Senator Keeley.
Yeah, Senator Keeley. Well, he looks.
Well, that's a great twist to the evening is that Senator Keeley starts kind of crushing on Albert in female form.
Now, what's going on here?
Okay, it's not that fall, Amanda. It's when Robin Williams falls down. So Agador just fell in the kitchen because when they're planning right before the Keeleys arrive, Nathan Lane storms out, and that was an ad lib when he is upset and thinking that Armand, he has feelings toward Val's mother, and so he storms off after that. He has multiple storm offs, but he has his little bag with his toothbrush in it, and he goes, "I'm going to Las Copa." And Robin Williams is like, "All right, I'll bite. There's nothing in Las Copa but a cemetery. You're going to a cemetery with nothing but a toothbrush. How Egyptian." That was an ad lib line. And so Nathan Lane storms out and eventually emerges dressed like a woman, like you said, Jason. And Senator Keeley is crushing on her. But meanwhile, Agador is forced to cook the meal. And Val even asks him, he's like, "You do know how to cook, right?" And Agador's like, "Your father seems to think so." So like he's just making this random pot of stew with like hard-boiled eggs and shrimp and stuff and
He's
everything.
making mung chowder gumbo.
I was about to say. I just had flashbacks.
Did you know that mung chowder gumbo has tuna fish? This is thrilling.
Stop it.
Anyway.
My therapist says I don't have to listen to things like that.
Hurt speech. But yeah, so Agador's struggling to make the meal, and then we just saw the fall. So Amanda, why don't you tell us what just happened? Because Robin Williams takes a fall in the kitchen. So what's the story behind that?
Apparently, the fall was obviously not scripted, but I was trying to find whatever line, and I couldn't remember off the top of my head. But apparently all he did was he slips and falls unexpectedly. He jumps up and just goes on with the scene by basically screaming at Armand and running out the door. And Armand he says, apparently later in interviews, he's like, I'm trying to pretend that I'm very emotional and crying, but really I'm trying not to laugh.
Yeah.
And that was a common thing in this movie. Like at one point they had to put a soundproof blanket over Mike Nichols.
Because he was laughing
so much. It was either during I think it was during the dinner scene. He was literally sitting there laughing, and he was blowing the takes. But
that's what I would do.
And it's interesting too because the whole thing with the fall.
He did what with the takes?
He blew them. He blew them.
Phrasing.
He blew the takes. The takes were blown.
Anyway.
Hard.
It was his job, though. So
you would almost call it.
I would.
He works hard for the money.
Yeah. No, the cool thing is, I think I told you guys, I saw a thing that Michael Caine did. Oh, God.
Just focus.
I think Michael Caine would kill me if I asked him nicely. Anyway, Michael Caine had a workshop with actors, and he talked about using the difficulty. And I thought it was the coolest thing because he said a director told him that once. He said if you're supposed to walk on stage and you go to open the door, but the door won't open. Mm-hmm. If it's a comedy, you use the difficulty and you make it a bit where the door, you eventually force it open and you fall and it's funny. Or if it's a drama, you kick the door in and you use that dramatic energy. And it's so cool because that's literally what Robin Williams did in that, because he fell, kept going, used it, and it ended up being absolutely, fantastic. And no one would have guessed that it was improv.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If you do it right, people just think it was supposed to happen.
Absolutely.
And if you do it wrong, you look, well,
Ridiculous.
Are you pointing at him? when you said that?
You look ridiculous.
So you're seeing it now.
You look unnatural.
You're seeing it now all of a sudden? I'm
Well,
not crazy.
no, the pink elephant just walked out, and now I caught a good glimpse of it.
Yeah, much better.
Are you in your more natural state of comfort, Mr. Brown?
I find it quite liberating, actually.
This is why I can't watch Silence of the Lambs anymore. This has literally ruined Silence of the
You
Lambs.
could
for me.
switch to kilts because that's why he wears them too.
Jeremy does. Yeah,
At least y'all
they
weren't
can get
stupid enough.
drafty.
You weren't stupid enough to loan him a robe.
Oh, yes.
Loan him a robe.
Oh yeah, I'm never wearing it again. He gave
It
it
is
back,
now.
but I'm never wearing it
It was
again.
too crunchy when I returned.
Oh, God. Because he likes to eat Hot Pockets in bed. Okay,
Exactly,
that's why.
you filthy-minded fools.
So
out
all
there
you
in La
people
La
who want to
Land.
complain and report us on YouTube, just cap up your ink pots. Okay.
Of all the things to eat in the bed. I can.
Whoa, I like that.
Damn!
Phrasing.
From out of nowhere. I think she just won the
Better
episode.
things is all I'm saying.
God.
And you wouldn't get so
Hey.
crunchy.
So
Ooh.
Yeah, but when you get to a certain age, a Hot Pocket starts to sound better.
Yeah.
No.
TV and a Hot Pocket?
I quit.
Yeah.
That's one of those things I grew out of.
I
Oh,
quit.
wait a minute.
I'm out.
God bless.
All right, Bert. I didn't know Bert was joining us in the studio tonight. You got Burt Reynolds laughing. Look at that.
Gene, what do you think of this? Gene does not approve.
No.
Gene's very upset with this.
He's crossing his arms.
Yes.
That's body language right there.
I actually looked up. There's a signature on here,
Oh.
and Bransa, I think is the last name. It's interesting because this is a guy who his career was actually he painted things for movies.
Oh.
And I just thought, what a cool job if you were an artist. You get a phone call and they say, look, we're doing this movie. We need some artwork. It's going to be in an office and it's Gene Hackman's office. Can you give us a portrait of Gene Hackman? Sure. And so you do a portrait of Gene Hackman in a suit with a flag pin.
We had a comm check, like question of the day when I was running cats I was a deck electrician. So one of the questions was, the very last one actually was question of the day. What is an imaginary job you would want to have? That sounds like one of those jobs I could have
Absolutely.
made up that I would
Absolutely.
love to have if I was good at painting. I ended up saying I'd like to be a emotional support human for animals. That was the best I could come up with. Everybody else was way
I bet
more
they
creative.
could use it. Those poor animals must get so stressed out on
it's
stage.
a need. Yeah.
Yeah, Jim Band. Heck, I'm gonna mispronounce it. Bandsuh, Bandsuh.
Yeah.
Illustrator and painter from Cleveland, Ohio, and he's got a lot of really interesting stuff. But just a
Does
fascinating.
this stuff sell for a high price?
I honestly don't know. I have no idea.
Even
if
though
you're
that's
charging movies,
priceless.
yeah.
But just
Yeah, this
in
is
case you fall
priceless,
on
yeah.
Yeah,
hard
you can't
times,
sell this.
right?
No,
Oh no,
absolutely
no!
not.
This will be passed down. When one day there'll be a giant manor house, and above the fireplace will be this.
No, it needs to be over
Yeah.
something like in the bathroom or somewhere weird.
Yeah, that could work.
Yeah.
Over the toilet, and Gene Hackman staring
Exactly.
at you
Oh,
while you're
gosh.
sitting there.
While you're trying to
So you're-
evacuate.
actually, that's going to go in my guest bathroom.
Because that'll
Staring
probably
at
be
my guests.
a great cure for constipation.
Yeah, or it'll inspire constipation.
I was about to say one or the other.
You call that a shit? Pathetic.
I crap bigger than you.
Curly.
Anyway.
Yes.
Yes, thank you.
Oh, here's another wrinkle in the plot. So, Christine Baranski, Robin Williams originally asked her to show up to pose as Val's mother, which she is. But so then they change their minds after Albert comes out dressed in drag, and they leave a note for her to not come upstairs. But the reporters who have gotten hip to Senator Keeley trying to duck the news stories, they actually tear down the note so that Christine Baranski still comes upstairs. And so now the jig is up.
Big time.
Yeah, and I kind of wonder because they're very explicit saying that it's National Enquirer, and I've always wondered, like, did they go to the National Enquirer and give them money?
I wonder.
Because
I think they would take money for anything.
no, I know, but would you give them money, or would it make more sense and be more ethical to change it and come up with a fake tabloid,
Or just wait for the lawsuit.
or just let
I
them
mean,
sue you.
there you
Yeah.
go.
I mean,
Yeah, I don't know.
they must have pretty sharp lawyers.
Oh, I'm sure.
I'm
You would
guessing.
have to imagine.
But we have another tender moment here too. So the entire time, Val is almost kind of a dick to poor Albert, like telling him that.
No, he's really a dick. to
Yeah,
Albert.
like it just.
I don't like Val.
Especially when Albert's done nothing but love him and support him and actually step into that role, like you said, Amanda. He was his mother growing up, and but finally Val comes to his senses, and they're like, "So how many mothers does Val have exactly?" And he takes off Albert's wig and he goes, "This is my mother, and my father owns the nightclub downstairs, and my mother is the star." And so.
And
The
then
jig is
Superman
completely up.
flies in, and it's this whole thing with Lex Luthor.
It's a huge battle. But so the Keeleys are about to not storm out, but they're forcing Barbara to go with them and they're going to leave. But then they discover all of the news vans that are outside waiting for Senator Keeley to bust him on this further complex scandal of his son marrying into a gay nightclub family. So.
And Senator Keeley just can't understand what's happening. What's this woman I had crushing on is a man?
Can we just talk for a second about how incredibly talented Gene Hackman is?
Oh,
he looks so
is.
vulnerable there. That's probably the most vulnerable I've ever seen him.
Yeah, well, I mean, and it's interesting because I remember
Until he's in drag at the end, anyway.
True.
yeah, but I remember somebody years and years ago was an acting teacher, and he said the way you can spot a really good actor, like the really, really good actors, are the ones who do transitions.
Yep.
And he said if you can go from a mood to the opposite mood, and the audience just goes with you on it, that's really tough to do, and it's a really mark of a great actor. And Gene Hackman nails that.
Because he's all up on his high horse, and how many mothers does Val have? And
he
then all of a
just
sudden,
slides into that.
Yep.
You know, that everything is bad, and he's off his high horse now. The guy just, and he's still alive. He doesn't act anymore.
I did look him up recently. He's just retired
He's
and
retired.
living a middle-aged or middle-class life, like mowing his lawn and crap.
Yeah.
Well, he was warned that his heart is starting to get weak, and he was concerned that if he continued
is that it?
acting, it may kill him. So he just said, "You know
geez.
what? I'm just gonna coast in." But you know who his best friend was when they were young actors?
do tell.
Robert Duvall.
Okay.
I believe that.
Yeah.
They were buddies. And
Can you imagine the drinking sessions that must have gone on between the two of
man.
them?
But there were stories, and I can't remember if it was Duvall or if it was Gene Hackman. When they were young, terrified actors, they would run up and slide their headshots under the agent's door and run away. They would be caught.
Like two kids pulling a prank.
That's
Run
adorable.
away.
Okay.
I would do that. I would be terrified.
Me too.
Best Gene Hackman movie. Favorite Gene Hackman movie, because best is hard to say. Mine is Unforgiven. I love him as Curly Bill in Unforgiven. He's such a good bad guy.
That's a hard one.
Yeah, I was about to say. I
It
don't
is
know.
tough. It's very tough because, I mean, he's been in
Many
thousands of
films.
movies.
I was about to say there's so many to choose from.
I'm a big French Connection.
The French
guy.
Connection is,
I'm a big
yeah.
French Connection.
I
guy.
saw that probably about, in fact, I watched it flying on overseas once.
Is there,
last
there's
year.
a chase scene in Chicago with the elevated rails
yeah.
where they're like driving, and they can't cut over because of the pylons or whatever.
Oh, it's incredible.
Oh.
I didn't like the sequel.
No, I didn't like the sequel either.
The sequel wasn't very good. And it's cool because it was really a true-ish story.
It was.
Yeah.
And Popeye Doyle.
Popeye Doyle, yeah,
I told
real
you the
dude.
story, right?
Um,
Gene Hackman went to Popeye Doyle and said, "Can I use your hat for the film?" And Doyle said, "Absolutely not. This is my hat."
Fuck you, kid. Get your own hat.
Yes.
Get out of here.
I would have to say I was pleasantly surprised when he all of a sudden appeared in Young Frankenstein, and I was like, "Oh my god,
Oh,
that's
he is a
Yeah,
funny guy.
yeah,
Gene
yeah.
Hackman."
Blind
And he's
man.
done goofy movies like that, like the Royal Tenenbaums.
Oh,
like,
God, he's fantastic.
I forgot. Yes.
Yeah.
He's
I
always
need to watch
great
that
no matter
again.
what he does. And even when he's playing the straight man, he's somehow one of the funniest people in the room. Like
that movie has the weirdest cry scene for me, and I've never figured out why. In the Royal Tenenbaums, when they let the dove go, and they're playing the Beatles song.
Let It Be.
No,
It's been a long time since I've
Yesterday?
seen it.
No, but for
I
some
don't
reason,
remember.
it absolutely gets me. But yeah, Royal Tenenbaums, that might be
that
the
was a
best. That
textured
might-
performance.
That might be the best Gene Hackman.
I'm
movie.
saying it might be. It's not even my favorite movie. But I think
a
it's
great
one of his
movie,
best
though, yeah.
performances.
Well, then there's the Poseidon Adventure when he calls it the steam valve.
Poor
And he's
Shelley
cursing
Winters.
God. I mean, that's
Oh yeah, the Poseidon Adventure.
it's tough. I mean, the
Mm.
guy's been at Superman. Probably not his best
Oh,
ot but
my goodness,
probably
yes.
not his best. But
That was probably the first time I saw him as a child was when he was Lex Luthor, and I completely forgot that was him.
I think that was probably the first time most of us of our generation saw him.
Yes.
You
Sure,
know.
he's paid very well for that role.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, absolutely.
That's how he bought his house in Malibu.
I'd say Birdcage is
Just like
definitely
Richard
up
Pryor
there.
was by the time they got to Superman 4. No, but it's a shame that he's retired, but he's earned it.
Speaking of
he's-
Richard Pryor, I think he was actually supposed to be in this movie as well.
This was about the time he was diagnosed.
He was supposed to originally be the butler because the butler was African American.
that would have been
in
awesome.
In the French version, but it was considered a little too racy for them to have a butler who was black. So they decided to change up the cast because Agador, Hank Azaria, was originally like the stage director. And so all the roles swapped around quite a bit when they were first casting and figuring things out.
Kind of a fluid production.
And to that end, when they were talking about doing a sequel a few years later, Hank Azaria flat out refused because I think the story was going to center around Agador going back to Guatemala to visit his family.
Lord, no.
But
It's
Armand,
Cousin Eddie's island adventure all over again.
but Armand has passed away, and they were going to focus on Nathan Lane navigating the world without his partner. And he goes with Agador to
that
Guatemala.
sounds terrible.
Oh, I know. Awful.
Oh, it sounds horrible. So I'm ultimately glad that Hank Azaria turned it down. But the reason why was kind of, he said he didn't want to offend anybody because he figured that Agador might be perceived differently in later years. And Nathan Lane allegedly said, "I have one word for you, Apu."
Well, he stopped doing it.
That was
he
after
stopped-
this though.
yeah. I mean, it's like, come on, dude. You built your entire career on this stuff.
Okay,
You know,
who's prettier, Gene Hackman or Mr. Brown?
Gene Hackman?
He's so cute.
Come
I
on.
love his cotton candy hair.
Yeah.
I know.
And I love the end. It's just a real small bit where he goes up to his driver and gives him $20 and said, meet me around the block. And the guy's like, no way.
Not for $1 million, lady.
Oh my God, he looks like freaking. Who's the Southern chef who's now disgraced?
Paula Deen.
Paula Deen.
She's famous for exactly one thing.
Exactly. Yeah.
I told
You know,
him
she still has a restaurant.
Oh, you drove by
yeah,
it when we
she
went
does.
to Savannah
Yeah.
a few weeks ago. Yeah.
It's
she's
still
got one in Pigeon
serving.
Forge too.
Oh, she's got more than one.
Oh yeah.
Oh God,
It's a franchise.
I think they probably can't branch out of South Georgia though.
Yeah. Nah,
But,
yeah.
but talk about vulnerability. Gene Hackman sort of mouthing along to "We Are Family" by Sister Sledge, and he's like clutching on his daughter, and he's like, "I don't want to be the only girl not dancing. You can't leave me alone. I told them I was going to look fat if they put me in white." Like it's so great.
So well
And his
done.
wife,
It's weird that
His
Richard Pryor would have
good.
been
Agador.
because Richard Pryor
I think it was Richard Pryor. Let me double
because
check.
Richard Pryor, he was in Lost Highway in 1997, and that was a big deal because he was in his wheelchair
Let me make sure.
because he was diagnosed with MS.
Right. I remember.
It was like in the mid 90s
Maybe I'm messing up my actors.
because
but
I
let me
think
double
Lost
check.
Highway was the last thing he did. I think it was the last movie he did.
Oh, was that wig really aged Callista Flockhart there? She looked like
Yeah,
what's her face? Oh my God, I can't think of my names now.
like
From
present-
Cabaret.
present day Callista Flockhart.
Well, no, but who was the actress in Cabaret who was
Oh, Liza Minnelli.
Liza Minnelli in that wig?
I completely goofed. It wasn't Richard Pryor.
Aha.
It was David Allen Greer.
Oh, very different.
Very different
Yes.
people.
Very different.
I don't know why I
person.
thought Richard Pryor.
It was
but
David Keith. Keith David.
Keith David. That guy. Sorry, I read that. My mistake. But yeah, either way, it was the same argument. They didn't want to have an African American butler because they thought that would be perceived badly.
It's just the calculus that goes into these decisions.
I
Sometimes
know.
it's just so like, just hire the guy who's best for the part.
And I think that's Hank
God's-
Azaria.
It
because,
is. It is Hank
He's one of the
Azaria.
most quotable characters in the entire movie. Like Meg and I quote this movie back and forth all the time. And one of our favorites is when Agador's running around barefoot and Val is like, "I need you to put on some shoes to go with your butler uniform." And he goes, "Sir, but you see, there would be no point. I do not wear shoes because they make me fall down."
I think I've actually heard you say that to her.
yeah, you have. We do it a lot. But And then the movie wraps. So the Keeleys sneak out of the birdcage by dressing in drag. And even the mom gets to have a little fun because a guy's like bumping hips with her. And he goes, I've never danced with a man before. And she lowers her voice and she's like, there's always a first time. So the Keeleys get out by dressing in drag. And like you said, Adam, they hop in Baranski's car and make their getaway. And he's telling the driver, meet me on the corner of this and Palm. Lady, not for $1 million. Like... And it ends with a nice big white wedding because the Keeleys thought originally when they thought that Armand was an attaché de Greece and that Albie was a housewife, they were like, oh, we can cover this scandal with Senator Jackson by having a big white wedding and getting away from the whole scandalous thing. But no, then it turns out that it's Albie and Armand instead of an attaché and a housewife.
Waiting to happen.
Exactly. Oh, and this one drag queen, he sees Bob Dole at the wedding. He's like, Bob Dole is so hot.
I forgot.
Well, this was about the time. Wasn't this about the time of the Bob Dole? No. This was
Inventing
96.
the internet?
No, the Bob Dole Viagra commercial. With Britney Spears.
That's right.
I would
What?
not have seen that at all.
Yeah.
I would have remembered that.
I don't know anything about this.
When he it's like,
Ew.
yeah, because it's like he's Britney Spears is on TV and then it cuts back and it's Bob Dole and he's next to his dog and the dog barks and he's like, easy boy.
Oh my God.
I had no idea that was an actual
I met
thing.
Bob Dole once.
How'd you like him?
He was a nice guy. No, he really was. He was
cool.
Yeah, he told some cool like World War II stories.
Ooh.
No,
Because that's why
he's a very cool guy.
Yeah, that's why his
Yeah.
hand was like that because he was injured in the war.
Yeah.
And he can't. He
Can't
has.
open his fist?
Yeah, if he
I never knew that.
he had to grip something or
He
his
always had
hand,
a pen or a
would
pencil.
shake.
When they were
So
kind
he would do that and his hand wouldn't shake because it was like he had
Okay.
bad nerve damage.
And they, kind of cruelly made fun of him on Family Guy for it, where he was like punching the wall of a McDonald's or something and saying his name over and over.
That didn't bug him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Most of
probably
what
wasn't
he
even
got
on
made
his
fun
radar
of
at
was
that
referring to himself in third person.
Yeah, those old timers. I mean, there was like make fun of me. I don't care.
Well, that's what he was doing. He was punching the wall and he was like, Bob Dole, Bob Dole. And he just kept punching over and over.
Bob
And
Dole.
they're like, oh, just leave him alone. He'll tire himself out.
Exactly.
But-
Yeah.
See, I
after
never even realized they were making fun of his fist. I didn't even know about it. I just always knew he was.
Well, after
talking
being
about
shot
himself
at
in
by
third person.
Nazis, there's really nothing that can
At a
really
certain
bother
point.
you. At
I think
that
he was
point.
on Normandy. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
oh, wow.
I'll have to check that. But anyway, so that's
This has been the
that's
Birdcage. Yeah.
and that's it. Gene's good.
Final
He's
thoughts. All
fine,
right.
Yeah.
Good. Amanda, any final thoughts?
I'm going to go home and watch this again because I feel like, holy crap, I've not seen it in so long. There was a lot I forgot.
Oh,
you
it's
must watch
magnificent.
it. It's wonderful. I love this film.
I always go on what you said.
Oh, my
I always
goodness.
take all your recommendations.
And Mr. Brown takes any chance he can get to dress and drag.
Literally.
So there's that.
Literally any chance.
We wish he would just.
Now everybody knows.
God.
When we do Silence of the Lambs, you are not allowed.
If you do, I will leave.
Yeah,
I will
Because
leave.
if that
sells
was
it.
if that was open in the front, it would be very similar
Uh-huh.
I promise.
to the dance scene, to the famous, the tuck.
Goodbye,
Bring
horses.
in a little like stuffed animal, fuzzy white dog.
Oh, God.
Wait, who played Black Girl on TV?
Trina McGee Davis.
It was the.
She was the prostitute.
She was
No,
the
I know.
prostitute.
I love how
can
they
actually
name
tell
these
you because
things,
it was
you
an
know.
actress from Boy Meets
Latino
World.
man in club.
I don't know, but it was one of the characters from Boy Meets World when the guys go off to college. She was one of the girl roommates or something. I think she lived with Topanga or something.
Nobody
I don't
watched
know.
that.
I didn't watch that.
I
was too old for it.
did watch that. But
Really?
anyway, yeah.
Did you watch Saved by the Bell? The
I
Next
was
Generation.
in love with what was
What was it called? Saved by the Bell. It wasn't the Next Generation.
The later years.
Zach
Oh,
the
there
later
was
years.
Trash.
Yes. Oh, yes, of course.
My brother watched the first one.
It's like After MASH.
Yeah.
Sometimes there should never be a sequel.
After MASH was like a fever dream because it's like that really happened and it made it more than one season.
Oh God.
Yeah.
But anyway, this has been another successful and disturbing episode of your favorite podcast. And Amanda, we can't thank you enough for making your first appearance on Hindsight is
Loved it.
Horrifying. So thank you for joining us in the studio to discuss one of Darth's favorites. Oh, we forgot to go out to Seinfeld.
Okay.
So we've got to do our final scores. So Amanda, I'm not sure if you're familiar with our scoring system. Basically, the scale goes from Alf to Seinfeld, meaning Alf is the worst, Seinfeld is the best. And the reason being is because when you were a kid, when you would watch Alf, you thought it was just the funniest height of comedy, nothing could be funnier. And then you grew up
did not
and
age
watched a
well.
rerun, and it's garbage. Now, Seinfeld, you might have been bored by that as a kid because that was kind of the human equivalent to your mom running into her best friend at the grocery store and talking for 45 minutes, and you felt like you were dying a slow death of boredom. But then you grow up and you start relating to the characters, and you're like, oh, moving is a pain in the ass. That guy is annoying when he
now
chews
I'm
too
older
loud.
than all these actors were when they were doing this show. That hurts.
So for that reason, Seinfeld's the best, Alf is the worst, but a perfect score is a 5. So if the movie's absolutely no different than the first time you watch it, it's just as great as it was then. If it didn't improve, didn't get worse, then it's a 5. So what would you give this movie?
Oh, this is absolutely a 5.
Okay. Yeah.
What's the highest number again?
Seinfeld,
Oh,
5.
is there a
Seinfeld
number
is a
between? Is
5.
it like
a 10.
How long have we been doing this show?
Half a decade.
Half a decade.
You
We've
did
had
say
a
5 was the
hiatus.
highest, right?
No, 5 is the perfect
hasn't
score because it's right in the
changed.
middle.
5
meaning like it didn't improve, it
Okay.
didn't get worse.
You love it just as much today as you did.
Oh, I
Back
see what
then.
you're saying.
So do you want to rethink your score?
Did you like it
Well,
more
I need to go
or
home and
less?
rewatch it, but I guarantee you I'm going to like it even more.
Well, because you learned
Then it's higher
so
than a
much.
5.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
It's somewhere between a
I
5
take
and
it
a
back
10.
and put yes. And I will let you know
Okay.
where it ranked between 5 and 6.
Sure.
Because I'm sure you care.
Jason?
I'm gonna probably a 7. I would
That's
say
fair.
a 7 because the first time I saw it, it was like, it was a funny movie.
Yeah.
It's like anything. If it's a movie that involves particularly family dynamics.
Oh, yeah.
If I saw it when I was in my 20s, it meant one thing. I see it now, it's a very different movie.
Sure.
And that always adds something to me when it's done well, and it was done very well in this. So yeah, 7.
That makes sense. Mr. Brown or Miss Brown.
Well, when I first saw it, I was active duty Navy. I just couldn't understand.
We need like an
Couldn't
Adam Brown bingo.
I couldn't
You were in the Navy and
understand.
you couldn't understand this?
I just. Ooh, that hurt. That hurt.
Damn.
I was just gonna say, as I got older, I evolved a bit, and I could appreciate the film a little bit more.
Evolved is not
But you're
quite
right.
the word.
As a submarine officer, I should have been able to appreciate it from the very beginning.
Such a reflection on the
You didn't
United
emerge
States
a pri-
Navy.
You didn't emerge a prize fighter, so yeah, you should have been able to understand this pretty
I would
damn
have
well.
been a halfway night beauty on my submarine.
Oh, dear
Of
God.
course you did.
So the score is
I'm going to give it an 8.
okay.
How was it
I
the
loved it.
silent service? Oh, pillows. Got it. Got it.
Fighter takes on a whole new
Yes.
meaning.
My pillow had teeth marks.
Anyway,
That's horrible.
and lipstick marks. But I'm gonna copy you, Mr. Brown. I'm going with an 8 because I saw this movie for the first time when I was probably about 12 years old, and I've only understood the jokes and the political references all the better the more I grow up. So, yeah, I'm going with an 8. So
Well, that averages out to something.
get a calculator. We don't care.
Quarters. Yeah.
Math.
Yeah, it's like pi.
Yeah, we just
I don't know.
we appreciate you joining us in the studio, as always, for your drive time, your listening time, your cross-dressing time, whatever kind of time. We don't really concern ourselves with it. This has been Amanda, Jason, Darth,
And
Adam
stop with
Brown.
Gene.
Stop touching
I
people.
love Gene.
With
You're not his type, okay?
Not even a little.
Not even
I
close.
just appreciate I got top billing over Gene.
Anyway, this has been Hindsight is Horrifying with the Birdcage. This has been Hindsight, and good night.
Bye. Bye.